Hello, good evening, everyone. So, this is the first session of getting started with IoT and robotics. So, in this session, we will go through the basics of IoT and how we can implement it, and some basic applications and demos. So, for that, we have Aditya Mahajan. He is from DSCP COE, and also he is working on various industrial projects too. So, he will take the session for today and tomorrow. So, this is the first part. So today we have the session from 5 to 7, and tomorrow we will have it in the morning at 11. Yes, so Aditya, you can start now.
Hi, am I audible, Suyash?
Yes, yes, Aditya, you're audible.
Okay. Hello, am I visible? Yeah.
Yes,
So,
Aditya.
hi, my name is Aditya Mahajan, and welcome to Getting Started with IoT and Robotics. So, this will be a 2-day workshop. In this workshop, we'll learn everything that's related to microcontrollers, robotics, and even IoT. So, today is the day one. We'll be covering the robotics part, and in day two, which is tomorrow, we will cover the IoT part, which is connecting our robots to the cloud and operating it from the internet. So I guess we can begin now. We have a decent amount of strength. So I'll just start my screen. Yeah, so is my screen visible?
Yes, Aditya, your screen is visible.
Okay. So yes, so getting started with IoT and robotics, day one. So first, what exactly is a robot? Which is a question you might have. So a robot is a physical device programmed by humans to follow a set of directions with high precision. Additionally, it can be controlled by AI or machine learning to perform smart tasks which is it is not performed to do. So it is not programmed to do. So a robot generally has three elements. So the three elements are sensors, which are camera or ultrasonic sensor, temperature sensor, or radar sensor. Then the second part is the actuators, such as motors and pistons, or you can say servo motors as well, and controllers, which would be a microcontroller such as the Arduino Uno. Okay. So, okay, just before we begin, can you type in the chat box if anyone of you has ever worked on an Arduino Uno before? I just want to understand where we are at. Okay, Shubham Dudar, yes, I know. Okay, Ashwin Walum, sorry. Okay, so some of you are familiar with the Arduino Uno environment. Okay, okay, cool. Okay. So SCCOC Siddesh. Okay, so I guess the third year students might have worked on an Arduino before, but the second year students are new to this concept. So no problem. This is the perfect workshop for it. So now, as you know, everything is getting automated these days, and it is predicted by 2030, one third of the jobs in America would be taken over by robots in the manufacturing and food industry. So that's a huge number. So you see where this is going, right? In the next 20 to 30 years, you either learn how to build a robot or you get replaced. So you decide. You have to decide whether you will be the one getting replaced or whether you will be the one leading the innovation, because the change is coming very fast. So where are robots being used? Manufacturing, agriculture, military. So in manufacturing, you might have heard about the assembly line robots, which work on assembling a huge quantity of cars in a short amount of time. So I'll be showing examples. In agriculture, there are robots like sorting robots, which sort the good potatoes from the bad potatoes, or which automatically harvest the plants according to a remote control. In military, we see robots where they're used for surveillance or even remote attacks like drones. You might have seen the movie Uri, right? Uh, उसमें एक scene था, there was a flying drone which used to survey and attack the enemy bases, right? So in space there are obviously a huge potential for robotics, where We have Mars rover. You might have all heard about it, Mars rover. And in healthcare, there are upcoming opportunities in the surgical industry where robots are starting to perform industry. Just last year, there was a video which went viral, like performing surgery on a grape. Many of you might have seen that video already. So, and surveillance, as I said, surveying drones, which America is using to spy on Iran and terror bases in Pakistan. And homes. Now, this is a new frontier for robotics where robots are coming into our homes in the form of vacuum cleaners and robotic vacuum cleaners, which I'll show you in a couple of moments. Yeah. So, as you see, this is an assembly line robot which is used to manufacture the chassis of cars. Here we can see a robot in agriculture spraying water. Just think of how many human laborers this robot has replaced. This robot alone might have replaced around 20 to 30 human workers. In agriculture, this robot alone might have replaced 10 to 20 agricultural laborers. In military, as you can see here, space, this is a spacewalk robot. In healthcare, yeah, as I mentioned, these surgical robots which are taking speed right now. And in homes, in the form of automated vacuum cleaners. You might know this thing as the Roomba. It is quite popular in the US, where we just set it on and it cleans your entire house, the entire floor of the house. So yeah. Now, what controls this robot is the microcontroller, which I have in my hand. This is an Arduino Uno. So let me see. Yeah. So as I said, the robot consists of three main parts: sensors, cameras, and sensors, actuators, and controllers. Now we'll talk about the controller part. So microcontrollers and a role in robotics. A microcontroller is a low-cost microcomputer which is designed to perform the specific tasks of embedded systems. Microcontrollers are used in low-cost wearables, medical equipment, high-end consumer electronics, and rugged industrial devices. State-of-the-art military and aerospace systems. So basically, you get the idea. This little thing resides in every single robot that you have ever used or will ever build. So you have to be very comfortable with Arduino Uno boards, which is exactly what we'll be doing today. Okay. Now I'll just turn off my camera for this. Yeah. So let's take the example of a car. A car might have many microcontrollers that control various individual systems, which is an anti-lock brake system, a traction control system, fuel injection, and tire pressure sensors. You might know these all these sensors, right? All the latest cars have these sensors like tire pressure and whatnot, radar sensor, ultrasonic sensor, obstacle sensor. So there's a lot of sensors in modern cars, and the sensors need to communicate with each other in order to make decisions. So that's where microcontroller comes in. All the microcontrollers communicate with each other to inform the correct actions. Some communicate with more complex central computer, and others might only communicate with other microcontrollers. Now, they send and receive data using their I/O peripherals. I/O stands for input and output peripherals. This is the most important part of an microcontroller. And process that data to perform their designated task. Yeah. So there's data coming in from all these sensors, like the tire pressure sensor, ultrasonic sensor, obstacle sensor. There's data coming in from various directions. So the microcontroller's job is to take in that data, process that data, and take decisions based on it. So let's suppose the microcontroller is getting data from an obstacle sensor that there is a rock behind your car, just like a few feet behind your car. The sensor itself is not smart enough to take action, but the sensor sends data to the microcontroller, which in turn activates other actuators which will take action on it. So the sensor sends data, microcontroller processes it and takes action upon that data. Now, yeah, what is the Arduino? This is the Arduino Uno board, which is the most famous microcontroller, which you can get for like 400 rupees on Amazon. Let's just see. Yeah, yeah, it's available for like 300, 400. So this is the most famous and the cheapest microcontroller available in market. So anyone wishing to start in robotics has to get their hands on one of these. Yeah. So what is an Arduino? Put simply, Arduino is a tool for controlling electronics, right? So if you need to control some electronic stuff, grab an Arduino. It's as simple as that. But what exactly do you mean by electronic stuff? Now, in electronic stuff, there are two major groups. Okay, so there's inputs and outputs. So think of input as in the previous example of the car, think of inputs as all the sensors and outputs as the actions that are being taken on that data. So inputs can be like temperature sensors, like I've mentioned here. Yeah, temperature sensors, light sensors, touch sensors, flex sensors, humidity sensors, and infrared sensors. And there's a lot, like there's thousands of sensors. There's Yeah, as you can see, there's a whole variety of sensors available on the market. Let's just see. So there's joystick sense. It's a joystick controller, not exactly a sensor. Then there's a flame sensor, which detects when there is a fire. So it can be used in fire alarms. RGB LED is just an output, I guess. Yeah. So there's the heartbeat sensor, which is currently being used in a lot of oximeters and stuff. Then there's the Hall magnetic sensor, which detects the presence of a magnetic field. A relay is just like a electronic switch. Linear Hall sensor, again, similar to the Hall magnetic sensor. Touch sensors, digital temperature sensor, buzzer. Read switch is another electronic switch. Then there's analog Hall sensor, which is similar to the Hall sensor. IR receiver. So you get the idea, right? There are hundreds of sensors available. So there's hundreds of inputs available. And now the second part, outputs. Outputs would be the electronic devices that do things. Outputs would be things like DC motors, stepper motors, servo motors, solenoids, LCD displays, LED indicator lights, speakers, and the electrical stuff that has some type of action in the world. So uh, let's say that you are trying to build a mm, robotic arm. Okay, so in the robotic arm, the input would be something like a joystick controller. I'll just show you what a robotic arm is. So this is a robotic arm. So in this case, an input would be something like a joystick, yeah, and the output would be the servo motors which are moving the robot. Okay, so input is joystick, output is servo motors. Yeah, so yeah, there's lots of inputs like joystick, ultrasonic sensor, light dependent resistor. If you guys have had electronics subject in your first year, you might have come across this LDR, light dependent resistor. So then there's a potentiometer which just adjusts the value of resistance. Then there's the gyroscope, which is available in all phones. Like you tilt the phone and it detects the amount that you have tilted by. And the outputs are like DC motors, servo motors, LEDs, stepper motors, and display. So these things provide the information. These things do the task. So is it clear till now? Cool. Yeah. So let's come to the hardware of the Arduino. Okay. Now right now I'm just showing you the presentation. In a few minutes, I'll be showing you the actual, uh, like I'll be using the Arduino in my hand. I'll turn on my camera and you'll be able to see. So let's see. Let's go by serial. So the first is a reset button. This will reset any code that is loaded onto the Arduino. AREF stands for analog reference and you used to set an external reference voltage. We will come to this when we are actually implementing the projects. Ground pin, yeah, it's as simple as that. It just grounds. There's two aspects to DC voltage. There's the plus and minus. So minus stands for ground, plus stands for live. So yeah. Digital input and output. Pins 0 to 13. So it starts from 0, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, and it goes up to 13. So these are the digital input and output pins. So these pins can act both as an input and output. Pulse width modulation. Pulse width modulation is something that is used to control the speed of the DC motors, which will also we will cover it in the later parts. USB connection, yeah. Here we insert a USB cable and we use that cable to transport our code from the Arduino IDE, which is this. This is the IDE, Integrated Development Environment, and we upload the code to Arduino using this USB cable. And TXRX stands for transmit and receive. So yeah, it just let's suppose you have a Bluetooth module for your Arduino. You want to send data over the Bluetooth, you can use the TX and RX pins. Atmega microcontroller, yeah. So yeah, this is the Atmega microcontroller, which is the heart of the, think of it as the heart of the Arduino. So if all these pins are, if you notice carefully, all these pins lead up to the microcontroller over here. Every path converges here. So this is like the heart of everything, and everything converges from here. Power LED indicator, yeah, self-explanatory, just glows when it's on. Voltage regulator is used when you are using external power supply to regulate it down to 5 volts. DC power barrel jack, yeah, you can just like plug in a router DC adapter and it will power on your Arduino without USB cable. 3.3 volt pin. This pin supplies the 3.3 volts of power to your objects. So this is an output pin, which is used to power your LEDs or your servo motors. So, and 5 volt pin, yeah, same. Ground pins, same. And analog pins, it is used to attach your potentiometers and stuff. So this is like the basic layout of the Arduino. You'll get like a better idea when you're actually implementing projects, which we'll do in a couple of minutes. Yeah. So Arduino software, as I showed you, this is the Arduino IDE. So this is where you write your code in this specialized software. You just have to download this from their website. Okay. It's free. So this is a software application that you download onto your computer and use it to program the Arduino Uno boards. It's a completely free software and it's pretty easy to use. Looks like a text editor. Like if you have used Visual Studio Code or Notepad, even Notepad++, you might be comfortable using this as well. And the Arduino IDE is where you write your code that actually gets loaded onto the Arduino Uno board itself. So this is like where the magic happens. You tell your Arduino to do something using this code, and this code gets uploaded using this Arduino IDE. Okay. Now let's look at the structure of an Arduino code. The Arduino code you write is called a sketch. So this thing you see right here is called a sketch in robotic terms. The Arduino code itself is basically a derivative of C and C++ programming languages. Just a quick question. How many of you are comfortable using C and C++? I know the first year students you guys had Python, I guess. But yeah, so is everyone comfortable with C and C++? Okay, so even the second year students have C++, I guess. Cool. Yeah, because that's the language that we'll be using to program Arduino. Now, basic program structure. Arduino code includes two main parts, the setup and the loop. So I'll just open a new sketch. Yeah. Let's just see this. Yeah. So don't get scared by the syntax if it's new to you, because once you start implementing projects, this will be like piece of cake for you. So as I said, there's two parts, the setup code and the loop code. Okay, so a setup would be here, void setup and void loop. So what's the difference? It is in the setup function, obviously, executed right after power up or reset. So whenever you plug in your Arduino to the power supply, which could be USB or DC voltage, DC power supply, the first thing that gets executed is the setup code. So this thing right here, the setup code gets executed first. This is the first thing, and it is executed only once. So it executes only when you start the Arduino for the first time, and it is used to initialize variables, pin modes, and libraries. Like, let's have a look. So here the Arduino starts up, and now it says pin mode, trigger pin, output. So trigger pin is I have defined as 3, and echo pin I have defined as 2. Don't focus on the syntax, just focus on the concept. So the setup decides what these pins will do. So these pins that we saw here, yeah, the void setup function dictates what these pins should do. So pin 2 is set to output and pin 3 is set to input. Yeah. And void loop, now let's look at void loop. Loop is a function that executed after setup code. So once all the pins are set up, you move on to the loop part, and it executes repeatedly. Like, it keeps on going until and unless you remove the power source from your Arduino. Okay, and it performs the main task of the application. Now let's look at a few examples. So yeah, onboard LED blink. Now I'll just turn on my camera. So there's this thing called as Tinkercad, which you guys will be using. Guys, if you have any questions about what we have covered till now, please feel free to unmute yourself and ask. This is this is not your college lecture. You can speak up. Okay, do you have? Yeah,
no doubt.
Yeah.
That in Arduino already programmed that chip already programmed that whatever code we will insert, it will perform all the actions.
Right. So can you repeat your question again?
That whatever we code put in the Arduino, it already embedded with any firmware software that it takes that code and convert our input code and perform actions on our code.
Okay, so I'll explain it to you with an example. So let's suppose you have a LED light which you want to blink. Okay, so what you will code is something like this. I will just show you the code. LED external, let's say. Yeah, so it's a very simple code, few lines. So first you will set up your LED at pin number 2. You just define an integer, and that code and you if you notice the code, it says pin mode LED output. So second pin gets assigned the function output. Now the second pin will always give out a value, a positive voltage plus or minus, sorry, positive voltage plus, sorry. And I've written digital write high, digital write low with a delay of 400 milliseconds. So once I upload this code to the Arduino, the Arduino stores it in its memory, and that code is executed again and again unless I turn off the Arduino or take off the power source. So this code is always stored in the Arduino. You can even take off your power source and plug it in again. The Arduino will again execute the same functions over and over again. Which IDE toolbars? Sorry, Saurabh. IDE toolbars. What do you mean by that? Okay, so Vivek, did I answer your question? The code is stored in an Arduino. The code is stored and it gets saved permanently in the Arduino unless you upload a new code.
So that ID section is the only section through which we can interface with Arduino by code section.
Right. This is the proprietary software provided by Arduino. So as Arduino is a proprietary board, you have to use their software, which is the Arduino IDE. You can't use a Visual Studio Code, as far as I know.
So suppose we want to create a compile. Suppose I have read some places that we can create a small compiler by using Arduino. Can we do that?
You want to use Arduino as a compiler?
Means I have read that we can code our Arduino to as a software for a compiler.
You want to use Arduino as a compiler? I don't get your question, because Arduino is not used for these kind of tasks. Maybe you can. I have not tried, but Arduino has only like 4 megabytes of memory. So even if you do try to make it a compiler, it won't be a very good compiler. It will be like a very slow and inefficient compiler. So microcontrollers are, I've never heard of this term like Arduino being used as a compiler, because it's not designed for a task. Microcontrollers are designed for low latency output and embedded systems. So yeah. Which IDE to use for IDE? So this is your IDE. You can download it from over here. Yeah, just download over. Choose your operating system and Windows zip file. Yeah, I already have the IDE, so I don't need to download. But yeah. Now let's look at your first example, onboard LED blinking. So this is Tinkercad. I've decided to use this platform for you guys because I assume most of you won't be having an Arduino lying around at your house. So this would be a good platform for you guys to practice your skills on. So there's this thing called as the onboard LED. You can see here, right? The L, yeah. So this is the onboard LED for Arduino, and it's on pin number 13. Okay, this LED is assigned to pin number 13. So what if I want to blink that LED? Now let's look at the code. So see, void setup function defines pin mode 13 as output. So the pin 13 has been assigned the function of output, and digital write 13 high. So digital write assigns a digital value like plus or minus. Okay, so this line of code basically means write like send a positive voltage to pin number 13, wait for 200 milliseconds. Okay, here it's 200. It was originally like 1000 milliseconds, like, which is like 1 second. Again, write a low voltage on pin number 13 and then delay for 200 milliseconds. Now let's see what happens when you execute this code. We'll start the simulation. Yeah. Can you see the LED blinking? I'll change the time duration. Let's say 200 milliseconds on and 200 milliseconds off. Let's see what happens. Start. So it will stay on for 2 seconds, stay off for 2 seconds. On, off, on, off. So yeah, this is how your code affects the Arduino. Like you define what you tell the Arduino what you want to do, and it will take action in the real world, like on the hardware parts. So it's as easy as that. So now for this, I'll just use my real Arduino. Okay, I'm turning on my camera. Can you guys see? I'll upload this. So this is the code I'm uploading to my Arduino. Okay. LED number 13. Yeah. Can you see it blinking? Yeah, so now it's blinking. Right now it's blinking with a delay of 400 milliseconds for on and 400 milliseconds for off. We can change this value however we want. I can set it to like, if you want to make it blink faster, I can say like, yeah. Yeah, so it's blinking faster now. We can make it even faster. Yeah, so it's very fast now. So that's the basic concept. So this delay function basically instructs the Arduino to stop execution for a second. Like it holds your execution for the designated amount of time. Here it's 100 milliseconds, which is like 0.1 seconds. Yeah, and it says now turn it off for another 100 milliseconds, which is again 0.1 seconds. So this code basically tells the Arduino to turn on for 0.1, turn off for 0.1. That's it. And this is the onboard LED example. Okay, so now let's just see how we can use a external LED. External LED blink.
Hello आदित्य.
Yes, yes.
Sorry to interrupt. थोड़ा ना एडिटरचा फॉन्ट इन्क्रीज करतो का?
Oh, yes, yes. Sorry. आता ठीक आहे का? सुयश?
Yep, चालेल.
चालेल ना? Okay, now I have a question for you guys. So in this code, I have assigned pin number 13, which is the onboard LED pin for output. Okay, now I want to do the same thing with an external LED. Okay, so what should I change? Like, what part of the code should I change? Any answers? Like, you can speak. Wrong answers are also welcome. Let's say I want to like attach an external LED over here. What part of the code should I change?
You can connect direct LED on pin number 13 and one on ground. It will that low.
Change output to input. You said I should attach a LED to pin number 13, right? Yeah, that's also
Correct.
possible. Yeah, that's also possible.
Change the
Change
number.
output to input. Not really, because we still want to output a LED. We still want the LED to glow, right? So we still want an output. Add digital pins. Yeah, exactly. So Sai Ganesh, you're right. And also the I think Vivek told me to attach the LED to pin number 13. That was also right. I'll show you. This is my jar of like components. So yeah, I have this LED over here. Okay, your basic normal LED which you have used in your school projects. So now I'm attaching this LED to pin number. Sorry, pin number 10. The positive end of the LED should go on pin number 10, and the ground pin should go to ground, obviously. So yeah, this is my setup. Okay. Yeah. So this is pin number 10, the positive part, and the ground part is pin like the ground pin. Yeah. So now that I've attached my LED to pin number 10, can you please tell me what should I update over here? Keep in mind it's pin number 10. Anyone? Okay, int LED equal to 10. Right, right. Exactly. Very good. So I'll just change this to integer LED equal to 10. And now pin mode LED, which is our 10th pin, is set to output, which is what we want. So I'll just upload this code and let's see what happens. Yeah, see. Yeah, the wire is too short. Yeah. Can you see it? Now let's say I want to make it slower, like 800, let's say. I'll just update the delay function and I'll upload it again. Yeah, see. Again, I'll make it faster. Yeah, so that's basically it. So let's try to achieve the same on Tinkercad, which is what you will be using to practice at home. So now I'll just drag in a LED over here. Let's see, yeah. I just dragged this LED. I'll connect the anode to pin number 10 and the cathode to ground pin, right? Yeah. So now I'll change up the code pin number 10. Let's see what happens. Oh shit. Sorry. See, this is what happens when you don't use variables. Here it's hard coded to like 13 and 10. You have to update every single reference. So that's why we always use variables, which makes it easier. Okay. Here we haven't used variables in this online simulator. Yeah. So can you see the screen right now? So you guys think you can like after our session, you guys can, you find it easy enough, right? You can execute it on your own, like simple programs like this. This is a very simple program. We just blinking an LED. I know it's not that exciting, but we'll get to the exciting part soon. Okay. Yeah. So, and be honest. If you can be honest, do you find this code challenging at all? Because many of you might. I know some of you had Python in your first year, so if you find this code challenging, trust me, it's not challenging at all. It's just the syntax difference. This is not even challenging actually. This is just a basic code. Oh, okay. Thank you, Suyash. Yeah. So when we come to the advanced parts, our code would start look something like this, or even more complicated than this. So there's no need to get demotivated, because it's very easy once you start actually working with the Arduino yourself. So now let's see what we have. Servo motor. Okay. Now before I show you the execution, I'll just explain to you what a servo motor is. Let's see a simple video. Yeah. Okay, guys, can you see the video?
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So yeah, it's as simple as that. You just program the motor to move to a certain angle. Yeah. Basically, that's it. This is a servo motor. You write the code to move it to a certain angle, which you define in the code. I've just prepared this circuit for you. Actually, I was preparing this last night for demonstration. Yeah. So yeah, so a servo motor has 3 pins. Okay, it has a ground pin, it has a power pin, and it has a signal pin. So signal pin of goes to the IO pins, like the digital IO pins 0 to 13. It can go in any one of these. The ground pin goes to the ground, and the voltage pin, the power pin goes to the 5-volt output. Okay, so this pin over here sends the signal from the Arduino to the servo motor about how to move. Let's look at the code. Okay, so I'll just execute it first and I'll explain it later. Let's start the simulation. Yeah, so here, can you see it moving? Let's say, so I'll explain the code now. Okay, so as I said, there's 3 pins: the signal pin, ground pin, and power pin. So these things are pretty self-explanatory. You don't like, you just plug it in like any other device, and the signal pin decides how to move it. So the code, let's look at the code. We include a library called servo.h, which is an inbuilt library in Arduino. Int position equal to 0. I'll get to that. Servo 9. So it's attached to the 9th pin. So we define it this way because we are using the servo library. Okay. In word setup, we write servo 9 dot attach 9, and these are the pulse width modulation values. You will understand that tomorrow when we come to the topic PWM. Now, for this is a basic for loop. for position equal to 0, position less than 180, increment by 1. So that's the basic for loop. It tells the servo to move by 1 degree every moment unless it's until and unless it doesn't reach 180. So after it and after it reaches, it waits for 15. It waits for 15 milliseconds between each increment, and then you just do the reverse of it, like from 180 to 0, decrement by 1. So that's how it works. Start simulation. Yeah. So let's say I want to make it faster. Okay, it's moving pretty slowly right now. Yeah, we can agree this is pretty slow. So what do you think I should change to make it move faster? Okay, what part of the code should I change? Just take a wild guess. What do you feel? Delay. Kind of, but position +1. Right. Yeah, right. Ashwin, you're right. Position +1. So we can change the increment value. Right now it's set to only 1 increment per 15 microseconds. We can change it to like 10 increments or even more. Let's see. Here I've made it 10 increments, but I've kept the decrement part the same. So what you will notice is it goes from this direction very fast, but while returning it's very slow. Let's see. See. Fast, slow, fast, slow. Yeah. We can make it even faster, like 30 increments per microsecond. See? And we can make this like 80 if you want. Okay, we can't make it larger, sorry. Let's say 50. 50. Okay, it's reaching too quickly now. We can't, because there's just 180 degrees, right? So let's just make it like 15 or something. So, I don't know. Sometimes these online simulators malfunction, but your hardware Arduino will never malfunction. Just keep in mind. Okay. Yeah, you guys are right. We can change the position attribute, position variable. So yeah, this code basically what it does is it just runs a for loop and it increments your angle by 1 degree each time. Okay, that's basically it. So that's how you can control a servo motor. Now you might be saying, यार ये क्या है, servo motor बस ऐसा angle पे घूम रहा है, what's the big deal? मतलब इससे क्या होगा ऐसा घूम के, right? आपको लग रहा होगा मे बी कि this is not much, like बस वो angle पे घूम रहा है and it's coming back. This doesn't make sense. Now I'll show you where this servo motor can be used and how you can use it to make an interesting project. Okay. So this is a, I don't know where कैसे दिखाऊं, robotic arm which I've built in like the hour before this. I just started building it right now, so excuse the mess. It's very messy right now. So this is a black servo motor and blue servo motor like this. Okay. So this is like your low torque servo motor. These are the high torque servo motors. These can lift more load. and this can lift like a few grams of load, while this can lift 1 kg per centimeter, 1 kg cm. That's the unit of torque. Okay. Now I'll just, before explaining you the code, I'll show you what it does. Then I'll explain the code. Okay. I've already uploaded the code to this Arduino. Okay. This is a different Arduino. This is a different Arduino. This we are using for your LED blinking, and this I have already uploaded it before our session started. So once I plug it in using this USB cable, the arm should start to move ideally, if nothing goes wrong. Yeah. Right. So okay, I just plugged it out. So you guys see how simple that was, right? We started with one servo. We started with this code that just runs a for loop, and now we ended up with a assembly line robot. Potentially, we ended up, which has the potential to become something like this. Okay, this is the same concept, guys. Just look at my screen. This is a robotic arm. Our robotic arm had 3 degrees of freedom. These robotic arms have 6 degrees of freedom. So this is just an advanced version of what we are trying. But do you guys realize how quickly Arduino can start to get more and more complicated and more interesting? We start with something like blinking an LED, and suddenly we are at a Mars rover. That's the power of Arduino. The components, like there's a saying called the sum of parts is greater than the individual parts. So the individual part, the servo motor on its own can do only this much, the LED bulb on its own can only do this much, the motor on its own can do only this much. But when you combine all these and make them run at the same time to perform something magical, then that's something truly fascinating. So that's where the sum of parts comes in. Sum, right? SUM, not SOM. Sum of parts is greater than the whole. So now that I showed you guys the robotic arm, this thing over here, do you guys think, with the knowledge you have right now of servo motors, do you guys think it's possible for you guys to build this? Like, it's pretty easy, right? Here we just implemented on one servo motor. Now in this robotic arm there's 3. That's the only difference. Okay, I'll just show you the code. You'll realize how easy it is. So where did I keep it, man? Okay, I guess I didn't save it, but yeah, the code is basically something like, you add a couple of servos over here, you define 2 more servos, and you write 4 more for loops. That's it. You can even attach a gripper at the end of this. I actually have a video. I'll show you. Yeah, I actually have a video of something I built in first year. I'll try to show you. I'll just turn off my screen for a moment. 1173. Let's see. Just a moment, guys. 1173. Hi. So can you see my screen again? Yeah. So I'm just I have just opened my Instagram account, and yeah. So this is the project that I was talking about. Okay, I've built this robotic arm, which also has a gripper at the end. It's using the same concepts that you have learned right now. There's nothing different. So this is the design process of it. Yeah, this is the gripper. By the way, this also consists of a servo motor. Okay, so there's a servo motor under this screw thing. Yeah, so there's the servo motor under this arm of the right arm, and the servo motor, because of the gears, both arms are actuated using one servo motor. Okay, so that's the gripper, and yeah, you end up with something like this. So you start with something very simple, and you end up with something which is like very useful for society, which can be an industrial robot or something like that. So yeah, there's that. Yeah, I showed you guys the robotic arm, and there's an ultrasonic sensor which I'll show you here. What do you guys think is the function of an ultrasonic sensor? Like, can you tell me 2 or 3 applications where we can use an ultrasonic sensor? Like in a robot.
Detection of any objects.
Exactly, right. More distance calculation, right? Can you think of any more? Submarines in ship, right? Exactly, radar. Yeah. So all these submarines ships, they all use the same concept to traverse underwater. They send out radar waves. They use something called sonar. Yeah, you might have heard about it in electronics. Electronics. Hmm. So this is how you integrate your ultrasonic sensor with your Arduino. I have one right now. Okay. This is an ultrasonic sensor. You can get these for around very like 30-40 rupees, I guess. Let's just see how it goes. Yeah, it's just for like 59 rupees, 50 rupees, or something like that. So this is the Arduino ultrasonic sensor, and it has 4 pins. Let's see. Let's look at the pins. This one has only 3. Mine has 4 pins. This is a different sensor, I guess. So I'll show you how it works on my Arduino. Okay, so So there's these things called the jumper cables, which you might need when you start robotics. VCC pin is here. Yeah. So now I already have the code ready for my ultrasonic sensor. This is my ultrasonic sensor with 4 pins. Okay, 4 pins. I have the code ready. Now I want you guys to tell me what to do next after looking at the code. Yeah, I'll just make it bigger. Okay. So in an ultrasonic sensor, there are 4 pins. One is power, ground, like plus, minus, basic, and there's trigger and echo. So now just look at the code and tell me what to do. Like where should I, what should I do next? Anyone? Wrong answers are also okay. Just look at this code and tell me what to do. Any guess? Like at least where should I insert these pins? On uh, which pin number or which port? Hello, hello. Yeah, guys. Okay, at least tell me where should I insert the echo pin? Which pin number?
Echo and trigger are on 2 and 3. So
Right. So I'll show you. Okay. So let's find echo. Here it says echo is the blue wire. So now I'll attach my blue wire to pin number 2. And I'll attach my orange wire to pin number 3, which is the trigger pin. And I'll just give it 5 volts. And yeah. So I'll just upload this code to the board. Let's see what happens. Yeah, it's getting uploaded. Now let's see our output. I don't have an obstacle in front of it currently. I'll just place some random. Yeah, I have this book. Okay, so you guys can see the output, right? It's you guys can see the output, right? It's saying there's an obstacle at 190 centimeters or something. It might be the wall. You can unmute yourself because I can't see your screen right now.
Yes, output is visible.
Yeah. So right now it's saying there is an obstacle at around 190 centimeters, which could be the wall over there. Yeah. So now I'll just place this book. Okay. Place it in front of it. Yeah. So it's saying there's a book at around 24 centimeters. Let's see. What do you guys can see right now? Oh, you can't see the Arduino. Sorry. Wait. Okay. There's our ultrasonic sensor and there's our book. This is the obstacle. It's supposed to detect it. Stay in around. See, as I move the book closer, it's getting closer. Yeah, see, it's just 9 centimeters right now. So when I move the book apart, like farther, so you guys realize how this can be used in a autonomous vehicle, for example, where you can attach your autonomous vehicle with a camera, use that camera feed to run a machine learning model, and use this ultrasonic sensor to detect an obstacle which is out of the view of camera, like the side of the car or the back of the car, where the camera can't see. This sensor can be used to detect any obstacles. It gives us an accurate reading up to around 2 centimeters. It loses its accuracy after 2 centimeters. See, 3 centimeters, and now 2 centimeters. Now it will lose its accuracy. Yeah, now it is giving any random value. Yeah, this is a garbage value which we don't want. We just want. So you can use ultrasonic sensors where you want to detect obstacles farther than 1 centimeter, which is like 99.9% of use cases. So that's how you use an ultrasonic sensor. Right. So yeah, guys. So that was the ultrasonic sensor, and I just want to show you something. Okay, so guys, till now we have learned about how to blink an LED, how to blink an external LED, how to move a servo motor to a certain angle, how can we use that same concept to drive this thing, which is a robotic arm. These are all just servo motors. So you can make a robotic arm out of by joining 3 or 4 servo motors. And after that, we saw how we can use a ultrasonic sensor to detect obstacles which are in front of us. Okay, so these things by itself might not look that interesting, but when you combine all these things to get something interesting, the result is very satisfying. I'll just show you one thing example, a project that I have built. I'll turn off my camera for this and I'll show you the video. Okay, so just look at the video. Can you see it? Please unmute yourself because I can't see your screen.
Yes, yes.
Yeah. So keep in mind that I have used only these concepts that I've showed you over here, and just another concept called machine learning. So I have combined machine learning and robotics to achieve this result, which you'll see. Automated sorting machine for supply chain optimization with machine learning. Yeah. Yeah, so that's the current scenario in the market. Like Amazon, Flipkart, these sites handle lakhs or crores of packages every day, but they have to hire like tens of thousands of workers to sort those packages, because a worker in the Amazon warehouse just literally looks at the package and he himself manually sorts it into different categories, like this would go to Pune, this would go to Mumbai, and that sort of thing. So it's a very, very time consuming task, and it's a very labor intensive task. One facility, one warehouse can employ as much as many as 1,000 people just for this purpose. So it's a very, very costly thing for Amazon and Flipkart, and it's a perfect scenario for automation, as you will see. So now this is the current system where people are using their hands and eyes to sort the packages. It's very inefficient. So this is something that I came up with during lockdown. Yeah, guys, please excuse the bad quality of materials because there were literally no hardware shops open at that time. So I couldn't even get a sellotape or a like Fevicol for that matter. There were no shops open in that time period because of strict lockdown. So I just built it using whatever scrap that I had laying around in my house. I have all this scrap laying around in my house. I always have some 5 or 6 Arduinos laying around, so that wasn't a problem. But yeah, as you can see, it's very jugaad, as you can say, jugaadu setup है बहुत. Suyesh. Yeah. So, guys, yeah. So I've used the concepts that we learned today. Just a few more additional concepts like IR sensor and camera, machine learning, but essentially the same thing that we learned today and made this. So you just add on the different components, like you use servo motors, ultrasonic sensors, you just combine them together and build something useful. By itself, they don't do much, but when combined together, they can do magic. Yeah. So yeah, can you guess what was where are the servo motors used in this? Like we learned about servo motors over here. In this application, can you guess where the servo motors are? Like I just want to see if you are paying attention. इसमें से इधर सर्वो मोटर किधर यूज हुआ है?
डिस्ट्रीब्यूटिंग आर्म वो सेग्रीगेट करता है वो.
इधर ना ये.
हाँ.
राइट एग्जैक्टली. सो हियर मैंने 4 सर्वो मोटर यूज किए डिस्ट्रीब्यूशन आर्म के लिए, एंड इधर हमने रोबोटिक आर्म में जैसे देखा 180 डिग्री घूम रहा है ये. हियर आई हैव जस्ट मेड इट टू मूव लाइक 30 or 45 degrees, I guess. So कोड ऐसा था कि just move it 45 degrees and it will fall in the bin. And इधर मैंने stepper motors use किया है. So stepper motors are something that we saw earlier. And here I've used an IR sensor. Okay, so if you notice carefully, there's a small little sensor over here, which is the IR sensor. I've used it because I've used this phone as a camera, and whenever an IR sensor detects an object which is passed in front of it, I've written the code in a way that the IR sensor triggers the phone camera to click a picture. So rather than just keeping the phone camera on for indefinitely, I use the IR sensor to trigger the camera at the particular moment. So whenever a package passes, the camera gets triggered, and the camera sends the information to my laptop. My laptop is running a TensorFlow machine learning model, and TensorFlow sends data to the Arduino, and Arduino then takes decision कि पुणे में डालना है, मुंबई में डालना है, किधर distribution करना है. So it's a integrated system. We are relying on camera, we are relying on laptop, we are relying on our Arduino, and all these things are working together to get our final output. Yeah, sorting arms at the arms, right? Sticks, yeah, sticks here. So yeah, that's how you can combine things and build greater things out of it. How did you connect the camera with Arduino? Okay, a good question. So I have not connected camera to the Arduino. As I said, laptop was also involved in this project. So what I did was, by the way, right now also I'm using the same concept. I'm using my phone as my webcam. I don't have a webcam. It's my phone. I can move it. See. So there's this thing called as IP camera. Okay, IP camera. You can use that IP camera app to stream over a local Wi-Fi network. Yeah. So I set the system in such a way that the phone transmits the video to the Python code, which is running TensorFlow. Okay, and TensorFlow is a in that I've used faster RCNN network, which is a deep learning neural network, where the input from the camera is fed into that network, and we get an output stating whether it has detected Pune or Mumbai or Delhi, Chennai or Nagpur. So I have not fed camera input to the Arduino. I have fed camera input to my laptop. My laptop is instructing the Arduino what to do, because by itself Arduino is not that smart. It can't run machine learning models. It's very basic. It can just control motors. It can turn on lights. That's all it can do. But our laptop is much more powerful than that. So we can use laptops to instruct our Arduino. Here we have used a combination of laptops and Arduino. I hope I answered your question, Prathamesh. Yeah. Yeah. Let me check if I have the code. I can actually show you. No, it might be in some another drive, but yeah, the code is basically like an OpenCV library. We use OpenCV to capture live footage from our camera. Any other questions like regarding this project, the one I showed you, or any other questions regarding to Arduino? Okay, let's do one thing. You guys tell me some project ideas which you guys want to implement, and I'll tell you how to go about it. I'll tell you what parts do you need and what the code will look like. Let's do that. Any one of you, just like say, like suppose you have a project in mind. You want to build an obstacle avoiding car, or maybe.
I have an idea of
Okay.
like while parking, while reversing the car and parking, we can use this ultrasonic sensor for detection. Like for some older model cars which don't have any sensor inbuilt in the car, we can use
Right.
that as a secondary thing.
Exactly. Very, very good idea. So now I'll just draw a simple architecture diagram for you, where I'll tell you how you can achieve your result, your desired result. Okay. So yeah. Okay. So let's say this is our Arduino. Okay. By the way, like किसने बोला वो कार सेंसर का? I didn't catch your name.
Avinash.
Avinash. Okay. So Avinash, let's assume this is your Arduino, and let's assume this is your ultrasonic sensor. Okay. You connect your ultrasonic sensor in a way that your Arduino receives data from it. Okay. And you power your Arduino, because it's here I'm using a USB cable to power my Arduino, but in a car you don't have USB because you're talking about an older car, so there won't be any USB in that older car. So you will be using DC voltage here. Let's say this is a battery. So you will need a lithium polymer battery, or even a power bank would do. Just use any old power bank and plug it into this USB port. Okay, battery. Yeah, so that connects to your Arduino, and after that you will need to hook this Arduino up to your car speakers. You can go to any mechanic garage, or even if you have some know-how, you can do it yourself also. You just need to figure out the wiring of your car speakers, and then suppose these are your car speakers, you just need Arduino to output digital out and frequency to the speaker. Or I'll make it even simpler. There's this thing called as buzzer Arduino. Okay, yeah, this is the Arduino buzzer. So you can use this as a small speaker. It is just like कार रिवर्सिंग में कैसे होता है, ऐसे पीक 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 करके साउंड होता है. So this works in the same way. So you can hook up this buzzer to your Arduino. Like this is the power and this is the frequency. So तीन पार्ट्स लगेंगे तुम्हें, एक अल्ट्रासोनिक सेंसर, एक बैटरी और पावर बैंक, एक बजर और मेन Arduino अपना. और उसका कोड ऐसे लिखना पड़ेगा कि सेटअप में यू विल जस्ट डिफाइन योर पिन्स कि अल्ट्रासोनिक सेंसर इज ऑन पिन नंबर 2, बजर इज ऑन पिन नंबर 3, दैट सॉर्ट ऑफ थिंग. एंड कोड ऐसे लिखो कि हियर हमने देखा था कि कैसे डिस्टेंस मिल रहा है, राइट. वी गेट डिस्टेंस एज अ आउटपुट ऑफ द अल्ट्रासोनिक सेंसर. सो यू कैन राइट अ कोड लाइक and if else statement. If distance less than 20 centimeter, buzzer should be on. If distance greater than 20 centimeter, kuch nahi, buzzer off. So you can achieve your result using that 4 parts. You can actually do it right away. Like you can just order these 4 parts and you can literally implement it in like a couple of days in your car. You will just have to Google a bit, look around some YouTube tutorials of how to attach a buzzer and that sort of thing. By the way, I just have a tip for you guys. Don't try to learn Arduino like you learn all your subjects. Okay, don't try to learn Arduino that way, because as I said earlier, there are hundreds of inputs available, hundreds of sensors available, and hundreds of motors and actuators available. Okay, so there are literally endless possibilities for you to learn. So if you go by the approach that मैं सब कुछ पहले पढ़ लूंगा, मतलब सब कुछ टेक्स्ट बुक में पढ़ लूंगा, so you might just रट्टा मार के कुछ नहीं होगा. मतलब मे बी याद रहेगा, लेकिन इम्प्लीमेंटेशन के टाइम बहुत सारे प्रॉब्लम्स आते हैं which you can only understand while you are implementing. So I'll recommend you guys to pick a project. Like अविनाश ने बोला कि उसको क्या कार पार्किंग सेंसर बनाना था. So in this there's a new concept called as buzzer which I have not taught you guys yet, right? So now अविनाश क्या करेगा कि उसको अभी अल्ट्रासोनिक सेंसर का तो पता है, बजर का नहीं पता. So he'll just look on YouTube कि how to connect buzzer to Arduino, and he'll learn buzzer while doing that project. So learn while doing. Don't just learn using a textbook, or don't learn by reading all the documentations. Like there's this thing called Arduino documentation. Yeah, there's like 100 or 200 pages over here. But ये सब एक बार पढ़ के कुछ फायदा नहीं होगा, क्योंकि याद भी नहीं रहने वाला वो. So it's better that you learn while doing. So pick a project, learn all the things that you need for it. So कार पार्किंग प्रोजेक्ट में क्या होगा, अल्ट्रासोनिक सेंसर रहेगा, बजर रहेगा. हाँ, 2 ही चीजें. सो जस्ट लर्न कि अल्ट्रासोनिक कैसे काम करता है, बजर काम कैसे करता है, एंड उसको हुकअप कैसे करना है आर्डिनो के साथ. इससे करके मॉड्यूल वाइज सीखो, बेस्ट रहेगा वो. Avinash, I hope I answered your question.
Yeah, I got it. I'll try that.
Yeah. Let's see how much that buzzer costs. Yeah, see, it's very cheap, like 30 rupees or something. By the way, Jaideep Electronics. For anyone of you who stays near or around Pimpri, there's this thing called Jaideep Electronics in Shagun Chowk. So I usually buy all my electronic stuff from Jaideep because he provides the cheapest rates, and mainly because he has all the stuff in stock. Because बाकी shops में जाओ तो he'll be like order करना पड़ेगा, ये करना पड़ेगा. But in Jaideep you get all things at one place. So yeah, just write this down, Jaideep Electronics. And ये भी नहीं करना तो और भी है, robo.in करके है. Robo. Yeah. So this is a completely robotic site which is based in Bhosri. So you get deliveries pretty fast, but they charge like 100 or 200 rupees delivery fee. So you can also use this, or you can use Amazon. How to build a system of nodes connect to our Wi-Fi that maps products to the nearest node. Okay, इसमें हमें IoT लगेगा. Actually IoT और Wi-Fi. एक्चुअली इसमें वाईफाई लगेगा भी नहीं. इसमें एक्चुअली हम हर एक स्टूडेंट को एक RFID दे सकते हैं. तो ठीक है, yes, we can do it using Firebase IoT, which will be actually I'm going to cover that tomorrow. See, IoT part में आ जाएगा वो. Okay, so what is IoT? वो सब कल cover होने वाले हैं. So what you are trying to say is completely possible, but आज सब कुछ सिखा दिया तो maybe समझेगा नहीं, और मे बी लोग बोर भी हो जाएंगे कि बहुत सारा बोल रहे हैं लेकिन समझ में नहीं आ रहा कुछ. बट आई डेफिनेटली साई गणेश, आई डेफिनेटली कवर योर डाउट टुमारो इन IoT. Any other projects that you want to build?
How can we build like timer sockets with this? Like, can we do that?
How can you what?
Timer sockets. So basically, like we overcharge our phones very often, right? And it's like
Okay.
not good for our phones as it is.
Right.
Can we like do something that is not directly attachable, because we live in hostels, right? So we can't play around with the sockets, but something that is out of the socket, but we can still timer it.
Okay, it's actually very easy. So you will actually not need anything extra. You'll just need this Arduino, okay? And कैसे बताऊं आपको? Okay, I'll try to explain it as simply as possible. So let's suppose socket भी नहीं मेरे पास. Let's suppose you plug this Arduino using a DC adapter, okay? DC power adapter, which you can use in your routers and that sort of stuff. So every one of you has a DC power adapter lying around. So you plug that to your Arduino. You upload a code that says you want it to be time based, right, or voltage based.
I need it to be time.
Like we can do both ways.
Let's go with like time based probably,
Yeah.
because it's like widely people can understand if it's time based probably.
Right. So if you want to make it time based, you will just write a code that says in the setup you'll write initialize timer to 0, and after a delay of like let's say 1 hour, how many milliseconds is that? 36,000 milliseconds. 3,60,000 milliseconds. You will just tell your Arduino to turn off after 3,60,000 milliseconds, and you will plug in your charger to the output pins over here. So there's the 5-volt pin over here and a ground pin over here. So your charger pins will go over here. Your Arduino will plug directly to the socket, and your code will automatically shut down your Arduino after 3,60,000 milliseconds, which is like 1 hour, or you can adjust it however you want. You'll just need to use the delay function, or yeah. Can you see this delay function? Yeah. So here I have written a delay of 1000 milliseconds. In your case, we'll need something like 3,60,000 milliseconds. Yeah. That will turn off your and पता नहीं देता चलो ठीक है. Int charger equal to, let's say, second pin. Okay, here I read delay. That's it. So after like 1 hour, it will set it to low. That's it. हमें चार्जर को बस इससे कनेक्ट करना पड़ेगा. You will just चार्जर को यूजुअली ऐसे होता है. हाँ, चार्जर को ऐसे होता है. फोन चार्जर को 2 पिंस रहते हैं. So क्या हुआ? हाँ. So we'll just need to cut off these pins and pins cut. ये आगे वाला जो head cut किया ना. So head के अंदर you will find 2 wires. You will actually find 4 wires, but you will need the 2 wires, like plus and minus, and you'll attach the plus wire to your second pin and minus wire to your ground pin, and that way you can turn it off after 1 hour, 2 hour, or 3 hours, however you want.
That's perfect. Thank you.
Yeah. But you might just ruin your charger doing that because काटना पड़ेगा.
Yeah, that's okay.
You can't use it anywhere else then.
That's okay.
Yeah. Any other ideas you have? Like you can think of any wild thing you want to build. We can actually build it. After once college starts ना हम actually इसको एक offline activity के तरह भी कर सकते हैं. We can actually hold like arrange workshops for you guys, and we'll provide the equipment. We already have the setup available in our college. It is called as the robotics lab in mechanical department. So we already have the equipment and setup. So whatever ideas you have, we can actually implement, and so don't worry. You can think of anything. Just say college start होने दो. We can do all sorts of things. Guys, किसी को और कुछ build करना है? So ठीक है, as इधर हम आज का सेशन एंड कर सकते हैं. So आज हमने किया रोबोटिक्स वाला पार्ट. रोबोटिक्स हमने सब कुछ किया, इधर अपलोड किया कोड, एंड इधर के ही इंस्ट्रूमेंट्स मूव किए. लाइक कोड भी इधर था, रोबोट भी इधर था, इधर ही मूव कर रहा था. टुमारो वी विल बी कवरिंग IoT. IoT इज होल अनदर बीस्ट. IoT में आता है यू कैन sit over here and control the robot that's deployed in America or a remote location like a jungle or something. Military uses actually these autonomous robots, unmanned robots, which are controlled using they have this radio transmitter sort of thing, but instead of radio it transmits over the Wi-Fi, and your robot is connected to cloud. So you can sit anywhere you want. As long as you have internet connection, you can control the robot wherever it might be. The only requirement is your robot and you should have the internet connection. So tomorrow we'll be covering what is IoT, connecting Arduino to Firebase Cloud. So if you guys have attended any previous DSC sessions, you might already know how Firebase works or Google Cloud Platform works. So we'll just use that existing knowledge that we already have about Google Cloud, and we'll see how you can use cloud to operate a robot, sending and receive data to and from the cloud, making IoT controllers, making IoT controlled smart light bulbs and home automation. So Alexa सबको पता है ना? Like you just tell Alexa to turn off a light and it does it. So how do you think it does? Because Alexa is connected to internet. your light bulb using a relay, a Wi-Fi controlled relay, is also connected to the internet, and Alexa just sends the data to the cloud कि इस light को बंद करना है. Your light bulb receives that data and it turns off your light. So कल एक्चुअली मैं करने वाला हूँ ये, मेरे पास लाइट बल्ब है, मेरे पास वो वाईफाई रिले भी है. So we'll actually implement, and after tomorrow's session you guys might just you might be able to automate your home. Like you might set routines however you want कि whenever I wake up 5 बजे तो लाइट चालू होने 5 बजे तो कौन नहीं उठता. When I wake up at like 9 a.m. lights चालू होने चाहिए, fan बंद होना चाहिए automatically. So you can automate your home using like simple Firebase functions, and you will actually make a IoT controlled car. This is very interesting. मैंने तो आज कार लाया नहीं है, but I'll be giving you guys, one of you guys, I'll be giving you guys a link, which will be a web app. So that web app, you guys can control a car which is over here. I will be sitting right here tomorrow. I'll have a car over here, and one of you guys can control my car sitting from like sitting over there. So that's going to be very interesting. You guys would love it, I'm sure. So make sure you don't miss this part, because you will actually get the chance to control this vehicle using your computer. There will be a thing, web app to sabko pata hoga na. So I'll just make a web app today, and I'll hook that web app up to Firebase, and you'll be able to operate my car. So ये सब कल होने वाला है. आज हमने ऑफलाइन रोबोटिक्स देखा, कल हम ऑनलाइन रोबोटिक्स देखेंगे. And yeah, by the end of day 2 you will be able to do all sorts of things like automate your home, make a robotic car. अविनाश ने जैसे बोला कार सेंसर, कुछ भी कर सकते हो तुम लोग. जस्ट गूगल अराउंड अ बिट and you'll find all the answers. Okay guys, so any other questions, like any other project ideas that you have, or even if you didn't understand a concept that I taught, you can unmute yourself and ask. हमने बहुत कुछ कवर किया है, so किसी अगर एक भी concept में doubt हो तो you can unmute yourself.
हेलो.
Yes.
मुझे डाउट है, मैं सपोज हमें ड्रोन बनाना है और वो ऑटो पायलट पे हमको रखना है, तो हम ऐसा कुछ कर सकते क्या कि हम उसके अंदर गूगल मैप्स का यूज करके उसके अंदर नेविगेशन सेट कर पाए ऑटो पायलट के थ्रू, मतलब उसके अंदर 2 एड्रेस डाल दिया और एड्रेस पे नेविगेट कर पाए, ऐसा कुछ कर सकते क्या उसके अंदर?
उसके लिए फर्स्ट ड्रोन का पार्ट तो साइड में रखते हैं. ड्रोन बना दिए, लेट्स अज्यूम ड्रोन रेडी है हमारे पास. सो वी हैव द ड्रोन रेडी. आफ्टर दैट you want to navigate it using Google Maps. So उसके लिए हमें क्या करना पड़ेगा कि actually we'll have to use a combination of Google Maps and also obstacle sensors. I'll tell you the reason why. Because Google Maps is great for operating on roads and stuff, but in the air there are some unexpected obstacles, like there might be a electrical wire or there might be a light pole. Google Maps doesn't account for all those things. It accounts only for the traffic that's on the road and the path that's on the road. So you will set the location using Google Maps, that for sure, and you will have to use something called as the Raspberry Pi. You can't use the Arduino, it's not that smart to perform autonomous actions. So for running the machine learning model, you'll have to use the Raspberry Pi, which is then, think of it as an advanced version of my Arduino, but it has a lot more features. It's also a bit more costlier. It costs around like 4,000 to 6,000 rupees. So usme we'll attach something like a LiDAR sensor, which is a light based radar. Okay, So radar usually sound based होता है, lidar is a light based radar. So उसमें it will make a scan of the environment in real time, and it will detect any obstacles like light poles or wires or कुछ भी, और hoardings भी होते हैं air में. So Google Maps को वो नहीं पता होता. So Google Maps will just set the direction from A to B, but your obstacle avoiding sensors like the lidar or ultrasonic will actually detect the obstacle and prevent the drone from hitting it. Or you can actually use a camera also, instead of using sensors. You can use camera, and in the same way I used camera for my sorting machine, you can use camera to detect objects and turn your drone accordingly. So A to B जाना है, so drone starting में ऐसी जगह, in ideal situation अगर कुछ ऑब्स्टेकल नहीं है तो A to B जाएगा, लेकिन अगर इधर ऑब्स्टेकल है, होल्डिंग है या लाइट पोल है, so कैमरा में डिटेक्ट होने के बाद वो साइड से ऐसे चला जाएगा. So उसके लिए तुम्हें थोड़ा सा मशीन लर्निंग लगेगा. OpenCV करके एक लाइब्रेरी है. You'll just need to research a bit on OpenCV and how to use it on an Raspberry Pi.
So आप जो बता रहे थे कि हम उसको क्लाउड बेस्ड सिस्टम से कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं, तो वहाँ पे ऐसा कुछ कनेक्ट कर सकते हैं, मतलब सिर्फ ऑर्डिनो सेट करके हम क्लाउड बेस्ड सिस्टम से यहाँ पे मशीन लर्निंग का मॉडल सेट करके, मतलब कंप्यूटर में मशीन लर्निंग का मॉडल सेट करेंगे और उसको डिसीजन देंगे, तो कुछ ऐसा फास्ट कर सकते हैं बिना वो रास्पबेरी पाई यूज करके?
Arduino यूज करके नहीं हो सकता वो सब, मतलब जस्ट फ्लाई करेगा ड्रोन, लेकिन वो ऑब्स्टेकल अवॉइडेंस आर्डिनो से नहीं हो सकता इतने क्रिटिकल सिचुएशन में, क्योंकि अल्ट्रासोनिक सेंसर कब डिटेक्ट करते हैं, व्हेन यू आर ऑलरेडी लाइक दिस क्लोज टू योर ऑब्स्टेकल, लाइक व्हेन यू आर दिस क्लोज, तब अल्ट्रासोनिक सेंसर को पता चलता है, लेकिन कैमरा को बहुत दूर से ही समझता है कि ऑब्स्टेकल आ रहा है. सो मशीन लर्निंग लगेगा ही, यू कैंट जस्ट रिलाई ऑन आर्डिनो फॉर दैट. So Raspberry Pi plus machine learning, you will get your result. और Arduino से करना होगा तो फ्लाई करेगा वो, लेकिन टकरा भी सकता है किसी ट्री वगैरह को, ऑब्स्टेकल अवॉइड नहीं होंगे, क्योंकि अल्ट्रासोनिक सेंसर का जो आउटपुट आता है, इट विल बी टू लेट टू अवॉइड एन ऑब्स्टेकल, बिकॉज ड्रोन्स फ्लाइट अराउंड 60-70 किलोमीटर पर आवर. उस स्पीड से अगर जा रहे हैं तो 2 सेंटीमीटर की दूरी से हमें ऑब्स्टेकल आने पर कुछ फायदा नहीं है. You'll just hit that obstacle. Any autonomous drone has some machine learning involved in it. There's actually a lot of nuances in autonomous drones, like which we don't consider, कि balance भी करना पड़ता है उसको autonomously. अगर wind आ गया, let's suppose there's a huge burst of wind. So balance करने के लिए you have to counter that wind using you might, so ऐसे अगर drone tilt हो गया तो autonomously machine learning को ये आना चाहिए कि अगर इधर tilt हो रहा है, so gyroscope से वो detect हो गई tilt हो रहा है, तो your rotors should act in a way which levels that gyroscope back to 0 degrees. So ऐसे बहुत सारे factors होते हैं drones में which we don't consider. Tomorrow's session will be at 11 p.m. by the way, 11 a.m. not 5. आज 5 को था क्योंकि लेक्चर्स है, इसलिए टुमारो लेक्चर्स नहीं है, इसलिए जल्दी स्टार्ट करेंगे. If any one of you is interested in joining robotics lab, we actually have recruitments coming up after once college starts. So let's suppose after tomorrow session तुम लोग को इंटरेस्ट आ गया बहुत सारा रोबोटिक्स में, so कॉलेज स्टार्ट होने के बाद you can contact me or some seniors and yeah, you can be a part of robotics lab.
Aditya, we can wrap things up.
काय करू?
We can wrap things up now.
हा, आता केलं पाहिजे रॅप. झालंय मग. मी आता फक्त क्वेश्चन, आय एम जस्ट वेटिंग फॉर एनी अदर क्वेश्चन्स that they might have.
Okay. So guys, if you have joined the Discord server, we have the robotics channel in there, in which you can ask the questions. And if you face any issues like while using Tinkercad or anything like that, then we will post the solutions there, and you can also ask your doubts there. and all the code which was used today will also be hosted on GitHub and there. So we will also provide you the links, and this session is also recorded, which is also being recorded. So we will upload the recording to YouTube, and you will also get those links.
Yeah, and I actually want you guys to implement what you learned today in Tinkercad. So just make an account on Tinkercad. It's free, and just try to tinker around a bit. कि light लाके देखो, motor लाके देखो, and try to do something like कुछ खराब तो नहीं होने वाला, वो सब ऑनलाइन है. So ऐसा तो नहीं, रियल लाइफ में करने से बेटर सिमुलेटर पे कर दो, because if you mess up in real life your Arduino might get like शॉर्ट सर्किट वगैरह हो जाएगा. ऑनलाइन वो सब नहीं होता. So yeah, कल का सेशन, tomorrow session will start at 11 AM and we'll wrap